the hotel was extremely outdated, and their bedroom had no window panes, only shutters. Now, the beds had no pillows, and there were only sheets and only calico fabric. The bill they paid seemed quite low for the time. Now, when they asked for directions to the nearest interstate, the hotel staff seemed to have no idea what they were talking about or what automobiles were. And then they later had their vacation pictures developed. Now, the pictures of the hotel were completely missing from the roll. When they returned to vacation at the same hotel, it was nowhere to be found. Now, could you imagine doing something like that? Because they were there physically. Now, was they in a time slip or another universe? They passed through a vortex or a portal, for a day, and then, and they took pictures. And the pictures of the hotel is totally gone from the pictures.
That is really interesting.
I'm telling you, that's bizarre. That would mess with you psychologically, I would think.
That and penises would. Either one of the two would.
Jeez, yeah.
Hey, by the way, James, you want to buy a couple of penises in a jar?
I don't. I truly don't. How are they going to determine? I'm just thinking about this. How are they going to determine whose penis is whose? Right. And here's another thing. Who's going to volunteer to do the inventory on this?
Well, somebody's going to have to, but there's going to be family members coming out and saying, "Hey, my husband was buried without his penis. I want his penis buried with him." Good luck with that. They're going to tell her, go to the store and get one of those things. I don't know. What can I say? Well, here, lady, here's your husband's penis. Go ahead and put it on your mantle over your fireplace. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. When I read that, I really freaked out. But I have to be honest with you. I laughed for a good half an hour over that. I bet. Could you imagine putting the ad in the paper for, wanting people to come forward to help with the inventory of this and sort it out? Well, no, but how would you know? I mean, you'd have to go through everybody. It was buried, male. It was buried, through that mortuary, that funeral home. Oh. You're going to have to find out who they were. And then how are you going to, there's no way to connect which penis goes to which customer. Right, and I got a sneaky suspicion that if somebody does that, because they're getting paid a lot of money to process these bodies, I'm kind of wondering if not all of them even got buried or even got the right caskets and stuff. Back a few years ago, there was a mortician back in Tennessee who got busted. In the big ice box they had there was like about 30, 40 bodies that were supposed to have been buried years ago, still sitting there. You know why? Because he took the money and then used it and didn't have the money to, fulfill the burial. Yeah. That same scenario happened to a funeral home in Dayton, Ohio. And this guy had been doing it for like 20 years. He finally got caught. I think he had bodies in the walls and all over the place. He wasn't, he was selling them these expensive caskets that we talked about, them stainless steel ones and mahogany and all that stuff for $5,000, $10,000. They weren't even getting, they would have it. In other words, he had like one casket. Of course, they view it and everything, but when it's time to get in the ground or whatever, I guess not all of them got in the ground. And not the bodies either. No, that's really disgusting, It is. I think the reason he got caught, I think the smell finally got, I think that, if I believe right, and this was like 15, 20 years ago when this happened, I'm pretty sure, but because I remember when it happened, it made news because I was living in the area at the time, and I was like, wow. I was like, wow. Just think of all these angry spirits hanging around that mortuary. Because they had no closure their life. Because that or they're reincarnated not as a male but as a female. I gotta quit. I'm sorry. But I will say this much: not all spirits. Sometimes they don't know they've died or they've had tragically. They might not, and they may be lingering at the funeral home looking at themselves or something, and then they may see, hey, wait a minute, this guy's cutting off my thing there, and there's got to be at least one out of 5,086 that's not at rest and knows what's going on and probably been haunting this guy.
Well, they'll have a lot of time to haunt him when he goes to prison.
Yeah,
of course, I don't know. Is there a law against? I mean, there is certain laws about dead people, abusing their bodies and stuff like that. Maybe he won't even go to prison for it. Maybe he just has to pay restitution. But think about all those angry male customers he had.
Yeah, depending on what state, I'm pretty sure most states have it's called mutilation of a corpse. And they probably hit him with that about 5,086 times.
They found all these at his house, too.
Well, and that's the thing. 5,086 of them in jars, that takes up a lot of space. Think about it. He had to have a whole living room full of these things.
Whatever. Maybe he thought he was pickling pickles, I don't know. Hey, Karen Banks, I hope you have a good day and good evening and all that stuff. I'm still waiting for oatmeal cookies. But anyway, I can say, this means a whole new meaning, the death and penis. You know that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he got charged with a lot of felonies. My goodness, that's crazy.
Well, look what he did to the economy, though. He had to buy 5,000 some odd jars.
That's right. That's true, man. Especially if he bought them full of pickles to begin with, because it kept local grocery store in business. Well,
maybe he loved pickles besides the penis. Maybe he just ate the pickles and then put the penis in the brine of the pickles to save money.
I'd say somewhere down the road he's got a fetishes for gherkins and pickles. I'm just saying.
Well, maybe the guy was born without a penis and he was jealous. I don't know. We got to stop. I got to stop. Anyway, we got time for like one or two more. What do you have to say?
Yeah. Here's another one, an experience somebody had about a kind of a time slip. The loss of time thing happened to me once. I was on the phone with my girlfriend at the time, and she asked me to come over to her house, and she lived about 10 minutes outside of town that I lived in. So as soon as I hung up with her, I jumped into the car and left to her house. I remember being on the highway about 2 miles from her house. I looked up in the sky to see a very bright light which descended on the vehicle. Next thing I know, I'm pulling up to her house, and when she came to the car, she asked, "What took you so long to get here?" I said, "I came straight here." And she said, "It took you at least 45 minutes to get here." To this day, I can't remember what happened after the light came down on the car. All I remember was pulling up to the house and thinking to myself, that was weird. Now, what does that sound like, Gary?
Oh, it sounds like he lost a bunch of time.
But doesn't it sound like he may have been abducted? Think about the car. The light came down on the car.
It depends if you believe in aliens and UFOs. Tonight, I don't. I'm into penises. But seriously, if you believe in aliens and abductions, that makes logical sense. But you know what? One of my sons today told me that there's no such thing as UFOs and there's no such thing as aliens.
Well, yeah, you should run the Drake's equation by him or something. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, I was going to take him, next summer to Mount St. Adams or Mount Adams with a flashlight and have him kind of like flash it up in the sky and see if they'll abduct him.
Yeah, give him some of them night vision and tell him when he sees those things moving erratically, flash that high LED lights at him and, you have fun.
Maybe this mortician is not human. Maybe he's a hybrid, and he's been, instead of doing cattle mutilations, he's been mutilating penises.
I'm telling you, there's a lot more to that story. We just don't know.
I don't want to know.
Me neither. I don't either. That is hilarious.
Yeah. I just hope my Uncle Bob's penis wasn't one of them.
Yeah. At least his name wasn't Richard.
I almost said the last name too. You know that?
I almost got you on that one, didn't I?
So that was good.
Oh, hey, Karen, without raisins, because I never know nowadays what the raisins really are. Anyway, moving right along, you got one more story here before we go on? It has to be like a 2-minute one because I took all our time up talking about penises.
That's okay. I got a couple here real quick ones. And I remember this one, actually. I think it was in the early 90s or something like that. But a man had this man had a passport for a non-existent state. Yeah, it was in the early 90s, a man arrived in Tokyo with the passport of a non-existent country. The man was angry that he was thoroughly searched, as if he could not understand what the problem was, and claimed to be from a European country which exists for more than 1,000 years. Now, although they did not find anything unusual about him, even had a valid money from some other European countries, and an international driver's license. They kept him for further testing and questioning at the hotel. There, he was guarded by nonstop by police officers. But the next day, the man disappeared without a trace and was never found again. Many Pearl Universe thoroughlists claim that he had come from another world.
Well, it is possible. It is really possible. And that's the thing. Again, or he came from, like you said, another world, a parallel world. Maybe he was a time traveler.
Yeah, and maybe he walked through a portal somewhere, and he was going to Tokyo. Only he'd come from his parallel world. There was a country that doesn't exist in this one.
That's quite possible.
Yeah, and it makes you think. Maybe Germany had a little section that was another country, or something like that, or maybe Luxembourg was named something else. But
or
whatever
Nebraska.
It was, yeah, there you go, exactly. But the weird part was he must have walked back through his other world or another world because he disappeared from the hotel room that was guarded nonstop.
I think, too, aliens have the technology. We were talking about, portals and stuff like that. Maybe they have a device that they carry on them, like time travel or time tunnel, and some of these other ones where they just push a button and they create a portal and they can come and go to a parallel, planet or up to a UFO. We don't know. I want to find out. Do you want to do an experiment here next week?
Anytime you ask that, I cringe, but sure, why not?
Okay. Well, I'll get a T-shirt made that says, "Please take me." And you have to wear it for a week.
I'll wear it. I don't care.
Okay.
But as long as you didn't say I had to leave the house, did you?
Oh, I want you out at the middle of the night when it's dark out there, holding a flashlight, a high-powered beam up to the sky.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, if I can move, some little alien is going to sleep. I'm telling you, and I'm bringing him home, but probably won't be able to move, and they're going to get jiggy with me.
Or they're going to bring you home. You never know. You think you might have a lot of muscles. These aliens might have way more than you. Anyway, we're going to go on break, and when we come back, we got another half an hour of nonsense, and then we'll have Tim Swartz on, and who knows what we're going to be talking about other than maybe time travel or something great tonight besides penises on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes.